Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. This is really hard. This is take number 4. I keep doxing people in this. It's a tough subject. A quick thing before we get started, I'm going to talk about Diablo 4. I made a video. It was a very well-received video. It wasn't well-received. It had a lot of views. And I said you should stop playing Diablo 4 until the patch came out. And I appreciate everyone that saw that, and I appreciate people that liked it and didn't like it. Unfortunately, the comments were turned off. I apologize for that. But I'm back playing Diablo 4. I'm running on the hardcore mode. I'm going to do a stronghold here. I'm on tier 1. I don't notice any differences. And a lot of time, those patches aren't for me. There was a lot of things that were going on in the game that Blizzard wanted to fix. I'm trying to level up hardcore characters so that I can give you a review of hardcore characters. How did each of these classes fare in hardcore mode? Hardcore mode, easy for you to say. But here's the thing. I didn't want to do it if this patch is going to significantly change all the classes. Seems kind of silly to do it then. So that was the reason for that video. I'm doing this now. And there was a lighthouse in this video. Why are lighthouses important to me? Well, as you know before, maybe you don't know, I was in the Coast Guard. I ended up being an officer in charge for 2 AIDS navigation units. How did I get in that field? I was on a ice-breaking tugboat in New York City. We went up the Hudson in the winter, and then we went out to Maine, the Grand Banks, I think it's called, out in Maine to enforce fishery laws. And we had a BMC on there who gave me the best set of marks I ever got. Those marks were so good, it pretty much carried me through my career. And when he had his own unit, AIDS Navigation San Francisco, I went out and worked for him as operation boss. And he had decided to rehab Point Bonita Lighthouse. If you see some pictures of it now, you can see all the running rust. We went out there, pulled it completely apart, put it back together, needle gunned, got all the paint off the brick, repainted it with fresh paint, everything. We did a really good job. We spent about $200,000. We probably saved the government $1 million, you know, back in, this is whenever, what, 93-ish. Giving away my age. So I have an affinity for Point Bonita. It's a love-hate. It's very ambivalent. We put a lot of effort into it, and it also was a lot of stress for me to do that. But one thing, Chief, you learn this in boot camp, but reinforce it once you're in the real Coast Guard, was that, you know, we could do anything. We accomplished a lot out there. So the reason I'm an officer in charge, because he pushed me to be an officer in charge in the middle of all this stuff. He pushed me to be an officer in charge. So I'm indebted to him. Thank you, Chief. Of course, he's now a senior chief, now retired. Lighthouses are an aid to navigation. They help you get back into port when you're out to sea. When you're out of sight of land, you're coming back to land at night, it's usually the first light you see. Usually the range is 20 to 30 miles, depending on a lot of different situations. Lighthouses have great technologies. They have Fresnel lenses in them, which are fantastic. They're engineering marvels. And they don't tell you exactly how to get in the harbor, but they give you general direction. And that's what mentoring is like. When you mentor someone, you're not telling them exactly what to do. You're giving them a general path on what to do. You're pointing them in the right direction. So there's a person that I know that I worked with, got hired. I was a salesman with them. I ended up getting promoted to VP of Operations. When we're salespeople, you know, we're both looking in the same direction. When I become VP of Operations, we're pointing at each other because he wants things for his customers. I'm trying to keep my people happy and keep the customer happy. So I'm looking at a broader spectrum. I'm concerned about the money we bring into the company also, but he's worried about sales because that's what you want salespeople to do. You want them focused on selling. So we butted heads naturally. And he had a customer out in Illinois. We drove to Illinois. We had fought about this customer quite a bit, yelled at each other on the phone. So we're riding in the car. He's driving. We have another person with him. I just won't talk to him because I'm so pissed off. We stopped to eat. I just refused to eat. That's idiotic, YouTube, but I did it. I'm not going to break bread with you. Go to the customer the next day. We end up getting a good solution for the customer. We start turning it around and we start talking. And that was kind of the beginning of our decent professional relationship. Over the course of that time, we shared a lot. We grew a lot closer. I would help him, but in the process of helping him, I ended up helping myself. And as I'm saying things out loud to him, I'm saying things out loud to him that are like resonating with me, like, oh crap, I should be doing something different. And we've kept in touch over the years. And when I try to listen to what he's saying to me, and he's such a wonderful person, he usually has the answer right there. But there's an attribute that I think exceptional people have, is that they can look inside themselves and they can take honest assessments of themselves and change their behavior on their own. He's one of these people that can do that. I admire that trait in a lot of people. So when I come across that trait in someone, I admire that. It's part of the process of asking yourself why. Why is this happening to me right now? What am I doing that I can change? And then changing that. And I think that in gaming, in relationships, at work, that's the fundamental thing. That's the start of it all. You might not be 100% of the problem. And I'm not asking you to take the burden of all those problems. What I'm asking you to do is consider the parts that you can affect and affect change in those areas. I've talked to you about this before. I don't think it's good to constantly be changing everything. No one's asking you to change, because in the constant changing, it dilutes everything. So then you become nothing. You forget what your core essence is. So let's say you might change your core essences a little bit slower, but if they're wrong, you need to change them. But you may have some things on the outer part of your personality that you can change a lot easier. Saying good morning to everyone when you walk into work. Not waiting to be told good morning. Not saying, oh, I'm a senior person, they should say good morning to me, not me to them. That's whatever. This is normally when I ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Trying to get to 500 so we can monetize the channel. When I say we're in this journey together, I'm doing this with the feedback y'all give me and your encouragement, and you guys have been really great. And so I didn't want to wait to do this, what you're seeing now, till I got to 500. I might not ever get to 500. I might drop dead tomorrow too. I'm old codger. So, getting back to the story. Okay, so I'm going to have to edit it because I have doxed this person a dump truckload of times, YouTube. I'm not going to restart it, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to have to edit that. I do not like to edit the audio, but I'm going to have to. I know I have pauses a lot of time. Maybe I'll hide it in a pause. Anyways, this person keeps coming back into my life. We keep talking and sharing. It's been a beneficial relationship for both of us. And I think I admire that person because they're very introspective and they make a lot of positive changes in their life. And I admire that. Let's get off that person because I'm going to keep saying their name if I don't. So where does that leave you and I? Where does that leave you in your life? For sure, there's some type of mentoring for children that you make, and I think we call that parenting. And it's kind of hard because you have to disassociate yourself from that you, quote unquote, made them, and seeing them when they're completely helpless and reliant on you to the point where they don't necessarily need you. And to divest, divorce, do something to get that out of you where you can look at them as another human being that can benefit from things you can give them. The other thing is that your spouse, you're on the same team. You were at least at one point. And so if you're not at the point where it just disintegrated, let's say you're before then it's important to help mentor that person and be mentored by that person. It starts with listening. There's a thing called active listening. And just the quick thing is, you listen to someone, let them kind of finish. But I'm really against having people have a dialogue like it's a play, right? I am absolutely, I don't acknowledge that, YouTube. I'm against that, YouTube. What does that mean? If someone's making a point that's good, you might jump in on it, say, yeah, I agree. And then you might back off a little bit. They might say something you don't agree with, that you got to get it in right there. And they should be able to do the same to you. That's called a discussion. Not monologue. Or you're monologuing. So, hold on, let me finish completely. Because if someone keeps saying that to you, that means obviously that you don't let them do that. So you got to work on it a little bit, but no one has time to let someone just monologue all the time. And you might not agree with that, but that's just how it is. Sorry, YouTube, for my opinion. But you're taking this skill of mentoring, of you're not giving direction into the harbor. You're just saying, here's land, here's a general direction where you want to go. And you can do that for the people that you love in your life. And you can also do that with people you work with. Now, some people will naturally come to you. Furthermore, you don't have to mentor anyone. You might be a mentee. You might go to someone, you might go to an old soul that you know and ask for direction. How would they do things? And that's okay too. You know, my one thing that I always want to stress, I'm really against the meta. Why am I against the meta? Because someone's telling you a general direction where to go, but they don't know everything that's in your head. So that might not work for you. Or you might not be able to enact it the way that they're telling you, but you can say go in that general direction. These are all just guideposts because we're not in each other's heads. And I'd submit to you, like I said in this last video, you can take personality tests where you will not be consistent in what you believe in. And so it's very hard. And I don't even know if being consistent in everything you believe in is a good thing. But nonetheless, take those advices with a grain of salt and kind of move forward. The main thing, the main takeaway out of all this is lighthouses are beacons that give you a general idea of where you are and where you can go. It's a coarse sense of direction. It's not a fine sense of direction. There's different aids of navigation to do that, to bring that back. And to bring you further back to Diablo. Fighting the boss here. And there's a couple times I had to use some healing pots, excuse me. But all in all, it was pretty easy fight. Again, tier 1. Purpose of this character is to go unlock everything for the other characters so that I can then do the video for you guys. So this is like chaining content. But just talk to that person today, and I told him I was going to talk about him because it was a poignant thing. It's one of those things that I think when you can impact another person's life and they can impact your life, or if they've done something for you, if you can pay them back, that's a great thing to do. So YouTube, this is Ronan Kazi. I have a backdrop, was too lazy to put it up. Dox this person a bunch of times. I have to cut up the audio a little bit, but here we go, YouTube. It's on. Ronan Kazi out.